Hi everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. Today I'd like to talk about automotive performance. I want to tell you guys the truth about building an automotive performance car and installing performance modifications. First off, let me tell you that it's very expensive. Good parts aren't cheap. Installations generally never go as planned. Paying for labor can be very expensive, usually almost double of what the parts cost. And every time you put a mod in, it needs supporting mods. Supporting mods are modifications that are required so that previously installed modifications can be used to their full potential. This is something most inexperienced people fail to understand, and most people fail to mention to the inexperienced people who are getting into it. I don't know why people don't like to talk about this, but it is very important to know when considering modifying a vehicle. Most modifications require supporting mods. This makes the price build up very quick. An example of this is buying a set of coilovers. Let's say you want to buy a decent set of coilovers and you spend $1,000. After that, your alignment's going to be very thrown off. So then you need multiple sets of arms. These arms could include front upper control arms to adjust camber if necessary, rear camber arms, tow arms, traction arms, maybe spacers for better fitment or wheels for better fitment and different tires to fit better. Maybe even stiffer springs so you could run the height that you would like to run without rubbing. Most people would imagine or assume that all you need is the coilovers themselves and you're good to go, but that couldn't be any further from the truth. Let's say you run the coilovers without the supporting mods, you'd have an undesirable alignment and your tires would finish quicker and your handling would suffer because you wouldn't get a full contact patch on the ground. So it is important when going into any modification to be aware of what else it will need so that it functions at its maximum potential. Once factoring the original mod with the supporting mods with the cost or time of labor, you could then see the true price of upgrading a certain aspect of your car. A lot of times people buy aftermarket parts to solve problems that they have with their car. One thing a lot of people don't mention is that very often installing parts to solve a problem with your car won't solve the problem with your car. So at the end of that whole ordeal, you'll have the same problem and you'll have spent a lot of money for no reason. This has happened to me many times as I've built 4 cars, and it is very frustrating because you feel like you wasted your money and they went to no good use. Another thing to note is that once you have custom aftermarket parts, it is pretty much impossible to find repair or replacement parts for those parts. An example of this would be when I bought my angle kit from GK Tech. They're in Australia and I'm in California. When I hit a dip too hard and broke a bushing, I had to go straight to GK Tech to buy the part. I went to many stores and no one had anything close to what I needed, so I actually had to purchase it online and wait for it to get to my house. Luckily, GK Tech has a base in New Mexico, and Officer Dan, their United States representative, sent it to me fairly quick. But it would be so much more convenient to just go buy something quick at AutoZone or at the dealer if necessary. So this is something to keep in mind when purchasing aftermarket parts. When something is aftermarket, it is almost impossible to find replacement parts from anyone but the original manufacturer of those parts. This can be a major issue if you're crunched on time. You can be crunched on time because it is your daily, or you have a track day to get to, or you have a competition to participate in. And the aftermarket parts are designed to break. If you have stock suspension arms, they're much stronger than aftermarket arms. The reason for this is that aftermarket arms are designed to bend when you make contact with something in a collision so that you do not damage your chassis permanently, as most race car drivers would rather replace arms than get a whole new chassis or go to a frame shop. So keep in mind that when you go aftermarket, 9 times out of 10, the parts will not last as long as the stock parts would have. That being said, sometimes the aftermarket parts are necessary, so make the right decision for you. If you mod your car so that you can take it to the track, keep in mind that it's very likely that it will break. If your car is modded specifically to track, you will soon realize that these parts will break. You will always need more parts because you will get to further and further skill levels and your car will not be able to keep up with your potential the more talented you get. This is a slippery slope because the more you increase your skill, the more mods you need. And the more you mod your car, the more mods you'll need later as supporting mods or repairs. This is a never-ending cycle, and it's very addicting. So only do it if it is absolutely required for your career, your happiness, or if you have the money to spend and don't mind spending it on that. Another expense that comes with automotive performance modifications is tickets from law enforcement. Depending where you live, it may be illegal to have certain mods. These mods can include aesthetic mods, such as window tint, lowering your car too much, raising your truck a lot, and if you live in certain countries, even getting wider wheels is illegal. So make sure you know the laws of your region and build something accordingly, because police attention is expensive, and in my personal opinion, it's not worth dealing with it. I've already spent about $4,500 on tickets, and the main reason for that is that I live in California and I've had 4 cars with modified exhaust, so I was a police magnet. Once I went to the stock exhaust, I have not got pulled over again, even though my car is a heavily modified street legal drift car. I have all the suspension mods that I need and the interior safety equipment. I just did not modify the engine or the bolt-ons, so I can assure that I will not be a police magnet. This works, trust me. I haven't been pulled over in a long time, and it's been the longest streak I've ever had without getting pulled over. The reason why I got rid of my custom exhaust is that I got pulled over and I got ticketed because people were getting together and doing takeovers near my neighborhood. So when I was driving by minding my own business, police assumed that I was part of the takeovers and ticketed me. During that time, they had passed a law where exhaust tickets were not fix-it tickets, so I actually had to pay $250 plus another $150 to get my exhaust stock again. After spending $400 on that, I did not want to get another ticket because they said the next ticket, rather than $250, would be $500, and they were very strict at that time, and there were a lot of takeovers going on in my neighborhood at that time. So I went to stock exhaust, and it's been one of my best decisions so far. Unfortunately, the car doesn't sound as cool, and I can't hear it as much when drifting, so at first it took a little bit of getting used to have the same amount of control, but overall I'm happy with it, because even when I go to the racetrack, there are often highway patrols waiting for people to come out so that they could get them for their automotive modifications. Be sure to only get what you need and to keep it legal in your region so that you avoid police attention, because that is very expensive. I know most states don't actually mind bolt-ons or built engines. Unfortunately, my state does, so I can't participate in that just now. But if it's legal in your region, you have the money to do it, and you enjoy it, by all means, go ahead and do it. It could be a lot of fun. Throughout this video, I talked about a lot of the negatives to give people an idea about the truth of automotive modification and car building. But let me tell you the positives, because there are definitely positives. Having a modified car looks very cool. It is such a nice thing to be original, to have something built to your liking, and to be one of a kind. A modified car can handle great and perform amazing. If done right, it should be way better than stock, and it could express who you are, visually and through its performance. Lastly, it is a lot of fun. The work itself is not fun, but having a properly functioning modded build is the most fun thing ever to drive. It may not be the most convenient or the most economical, but it will make you smile every time you're doing it and everything is going well. That being said, it may not always go well, and it can be a headache. Race car drivers often talk about the highs and the lows of racing or drifting, and basically the highs are amazing. When things are going well, you couldn't ask for anything better in your life, and when things go bad, it's very depressing and frustrating. So I hope you guys learned something with my commentary today, and I hope you enjoyed the video in the background. I had a nice drive and swung a little turns. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate your time. If you made it this far in the video, I can guarantee you'd like a lot of my other videos. So please hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and if you feel like it, drop a comment as well. I'd appreciate that very much. Alright everybody, have a great day. Take care.